Coming up on today's show, MetaQuest isn't giving up on VR, yet another Star Wars game has been announced, and special guest Maude Garrett is here. What's good, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the What's Good Games podcast, your source for video game news, commentary, analysis, and funny stuff every Friday. I am one of your hosts, Andrea Renee, joined by Miss Brittany Brombacher.
Hello.
Hi, Britt. I like this lumberjack brawny paper towel vibe you have going on.
Oh, shit. Thank you. I'm literally, that's hilarious, by the way. I literally am in my pajamas. I have not changed since this morning, but that's okay. MeUndies, ladies and gentlemen. You can be the brawny lumberjack, feminine.
Jackdress.
I like it.
Jackdress.
Yes, MeUndies.com/WGG for 15% off your first purchase. And they're not even a sponsor on this week's show. Maude Garrett is also here. Welcome, Maude.
Yay!
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm on the show.
It's so good to finally have you. I know we've been coordinating for a couple of months, but you are just so busy hosting all of the things. Not only are you one of the co-founders of Geek Bomb, but you are, or the founder, excuse me, but you also host for Nerdist, and you were doing some Twitter Spaces for Amazon Studios, and I feel like I just can't keep up with all of the things that you are doing these days.
I can't either, which is why I hurt my back. I'm literally trying to carry myself through this. No, it's been pretty good. Just Wednesdays are really tough because I host two different book clubs. I feel like not enough people read, and I love reading. And so, just trying to get more people into sort of fantasy and sci-fi books. And that always happens on a Wednesday. But I remember the first time I was asked to try and be on What's Good Games was 2017 or 18.
Wow.
Wow, we really have been trying for a long time.
And now it's happening, and it's real life, and it's great.
Yay! It was fun talking with you on a Twitter space that I started, what was that, back in December when we chatted about the first episode of the Wheel of Time, which was really fun. And then you went on to host some stuff for Amazon. Obviously, people that listen to the show know that I'm also a big fantasy person, love fantasy and sci-fi books. And it's always a bummer to me that because our shows kind of align on the same production days, we don't really get to partake in each other's things. But that's okay because, like we just talked about, you do a lot of stuff. And I saw you recently working with friend of the show, Trisha Hirschberger, on some stuff as well, some more tech-focused stuff.
Yeah, Trisha is so funny. So we are both SourceFed alumni, but I actually replaced her. So when she moved on to greener pastures, I came in to be the next Trisha. It's so funny because it's like, we couldn't be more opposite, like, I guess, physically, if we tried. So that was like, I had literally small shoes to fill, but like a big presence to fill. And it's weird because like we didn't really work together, but I think through sort of like doing VidCon things and having sort of that history that united us, we ended up becoming friends, and now we're almost inseparable, and we work together like if not every month, every other month. Doing stuff for Geek Bomb and doing stuff on her network. And I just rate her so highly. I think she's such good value. She's the best.
Oh, yes. Yeah. She's wonderful. She's another one I can't keep track of. I feel like every time I see her on Instagram, she's hosting some amazing event or flying out to do something. It gives me such a vicarious thrill because I feel like that used to be my life before, the pandemic and before I had a kid. And I'm like, oh, yeah, girl hustle, get it. I just love it. I just love seeing
I haven't been on a plane for a year and a half, and I haven't left the country for over 3. I have a nephew I haven't met.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's weird.
Dang you, COVID.
Yeah. It's like I'm watching him grow up through a screen. I just want to pinch his cheeks. He's really cute. Absolutely. I don't know how long that's going to last.
Not long. As somebody who has a small child at home, it goes by very quickly.
It's true. But I've tried to like really apply logic to this because I'm getting a bit of heat from my family back home. But it's like I can't like visas, and if I leave the country, I can't come back in. And then trying to get the visa processed, it's a real sort of bag of dicks, as I've been saying. But I've kind of gone. They're young. And memories don't really start truly forming until around 4 or 5. Mm-hmm. And so the nephew I haven't met is 3. So I've got a little bit of time before I can really start, stepping up as the greatest aunt of all time.
Yeah. I like it.
Absolutely.
Well, now you just have even more time to plan for it to be the best meeting this kid has ever known.
Mm-hmm. What's the chance that I pick him up and I literally hurt my back?
Probably high. 4-year-olds,
yeah, good.
4-year-olds aren't small, so do some Pilates or something before you go, I guess.
I'm gonna have to
take some leave.
Yeah, or that, or both. Do both. There are quite a few people traveling this weekend, though, because PAX East has returned and is going on right now. And normally, Brittany and I would be at the show, but I, at the time of the podcast airing, will be in Las Vegas for a dear friend's wedding. One Brianna Manuel, one of our co-hosts here at What's Good Games, is getting married this weekend. So we wish her and her fiance Danny nothing but the best, and hope that everybody who's at PAX is staying safe and wearing your mask and washing your hands and having some fun playing games and stuff.
Another thing, COVID. Fuck you, COVID. I should be there in Vegas this weekend.
You should be.
I know. It's just so tough. Not to go down a tangent, but I have a lot of immunocompromised folks in my immediate family that I see on a weekly basis. So it's this weird bubble dynamic thing of if I go and I am potentially exposed to anything, and then I can't see certain people for a certain amount of time, and then they can't see. It's a whole fuck situation. Anyway, yes, Rhea and Danny, love you both so much. Happy life together.
We will all be reunited again one day. Reunited at a con. But we have been chatting for long enough. Let's go ahead and dive into the show. Thank you so much to this month's Patreon producers, Chewy's Godson, Alex Rigopulos, Faris Attieh, Justin Foshee, Maude Garrett, and Punkdefied. And welcome to our Patreon community, Jaron Elam. Don't forget, you can support What's Good Games at patreon.com/whatsgoodgames, where we have a couple different tiers you can choose from, including getting the show ad-free. Or, just skip the ads, or don't skip the ads. They help us, everybody. They help us. Brittany, I read a bunch of really nice new reviews that happened this week. I mean, you are highlighting a couple people, both of which have really interesting names.
I know. Okay, first one. Thank you, Alien Cyber Pimp. I'm very interested in your line of duty. I would like to know what it is exactly you do with your time. But thank you, Alien Cyber Pimp, and thank you, Reverse Gremlin. What is the opposite of a gremlin? I don't know, but apparently that's what you are. Thank you for taking the time to leave us a review. Made us feel all warm and fuzzy and all that good shit that we mention every week. Hearts.
Aw, yeah. Let's dive into the news. First up, yet another Star Wars game is in development, probably surprising nobody. Everybody feels like they want to make a Star Wars game. But this one, I think, is catching the attention of a lot of people as potentially one to keep an eye out for because of who is behind it, and that is Amy Hennig of Uncharted fame. So this write-up comes from IGN. Skydance Media announced this week that Amy Hennig is working on a brand new game set in the Star Wars universe. Little is known about the new project, save that it will be a richly cinematic action-adventure game featuring an original story set in the Star Wars galaxy. So I think that's probably the most intriguing part, that it's an original story that is not going to probably follow any of the other storylines. Obviously, there'll be some overlap, I would guess. We might see some familiar faces. But what do you think, ladies, of Skydance and Amy Hennig kind of at the helm of a Star Wars game?
I like the combo. I think that out of all the Star Wars games out there, and I've played, my fair share from, TIE Fighter back in the day, to the latest that I actually didn't like as much. I thought it was a bit clunky. What was that last Jedi game that we just got? That was like an original character with like an original story as well by EA.
Oh, you're talking about Jedi Fallen Order?
Yeah.
You didn't like it?
I'm so excited about it. Didn't like it.
No, I loved that game.
Oh, no. But, do you remember the news about 6 or so years ago where they were working on a Boba Fett game and it was supposed to be sort of like
Star
a first
Wars
person.
1313.
Yes. I'm still kind of waiting for that. And I know they put enough work in that.
That's never coming back.
And they bailed and they dangled that carrot. But they also said that they're going to remaster KOTOR, which I'm stoked on because that's one of the greatest games of all time. Easily top 5, maybe definitely top 10. But Uncharted, the series are really great. Amy has nailed the action-adventure genre as a whole. I'd be interested to know what this original story is. Star Wars as a franchise is moving into the High Republic territory. And I know that they've released a bunch of books, which are all canon now. And it's kind of, I don't know, Mandalorian seems to be doing a lot better because it's in an era that we understand with supporting characters that we know and love. So to kind of completely abandon that timeline and try a new one, are they going to make this game in that time to kind of really punch up the next phase that they're going into? That's something that I would really want to know.
Oh, I'm just smiling, nodding, ladies, because I don't know fucking shit about no. So here's my stand spot on Star Wars: is the movies. I mean, they're entertaining enough, but I don't care enough to actually like pay attention and learn the lore of it and what's canon, what's not. Read the books. But what I learned with Jedi Fallen Order is that I really enjoy Star Wars video games. That's the first one I've actually truly like sat down and played, and I also really enjoyed that one. So for me, you put a name like Emmy Hennig on there. One, like that's almost an insta sell, and two, the fact that it's a completely original game. Was that the language that was used?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, an original story, richly cinematic action adventure. Like all of that speaks to me directly because I think I'm somewhat intimidated to try to hop into the Star Wars universe because like you just dropped a whole bunch of fancy words, Maude, and I just was like, huh? Like what's this High Republic? No, but seriously, so that's why I'm really stoked about this, and you know all the stuff that went down with Ragtag, and it's kind of like with Jade Raven. I just want Amy to thrive. Make the fucking game that you want to make, for the love of God. You know what I mean? Just do it.
Absolutely.
Hopefully now she can.
Do you want a little insight into the High Republic? I can absolutely spoon feed you so it will make total sense. So you know, like the Skywalker saga and that era, we are talking a couple of 100 years earlier. So the Skywalker saga, there was few Jedi, like one Sith. They implemented like the rule of two. So like the Sith kind of like really died out in a way. So a couple of 100 years before that, it was quite a few Jedi and quite a few Sith. And so they're kind of like, there's more of like, you know, the way that I describe it, you know, the opening sequence to the X-Men 90s cartoon where like both sides
lost me, baby girl.
Both sides come together.
She doesn't know what the Sith are, probably.
Do you know X-Men?
No, very casually, yes, casually. I'm a nerd when it comes to certain things. Otherwise, I'm just like, oh my God, what's an X-Man? And this is one of those things.
It's okay, Maude.
I know. See, that's a lightsaber. See, I know that. And it's red. That means you're a bad guy.
Oh, you got the pistol, too.
It's Han Solo's blast. It's a blaster.
I'm sorry. I didn't use the right terminology, everybody. Maude is like, why did I agree to come on the show again?
I know.
Why did I come on this show?
There's a reason I've been avoiding you since 2018.
We had to build up our fake nerd cred, Andrea.
The type of disappointment that like,
this was our test. This was our test and we failed it.
Listen, I consider myself to be like medium knowledgeable about Star Wars, but I also have never read the books. It's been on my like to-do list, but I still have to go back and reread The Wheel of Time before I can actually like commit to Star Wars. I've got other stuff going on, but I appreciate that you are here, Maude, because we had someone write in. Nova wrote in and says, howdy, Britt, Rhea, still workshopping, and marvelous Maude. First, I will not be shocked if this ends up being a longer pod with Maude being in the same room as you two. I could see a solid 30 minutes of just laughter. Well, we were close. Given Ragtag was Amy Hennig's previous project with EA, and I doubt they would let them take the story or assets for that project, do you think this new game is going to be like a spiritual replacement of that game, or possibly some other past canceled Star Wars 13
What did I say?
Right? Exactly.
Yes, especially because it was an action adventure kind of thing. I wonder if they kind of are using the blueprint of those ideas, because they definitely worked on it enough time, but it got the scrap. The problem as well, though, if the idea and the blueprint of that was 5-6 years ago, we have come already in that time so far in terms of what we're able to do that it's just like, I don't know, is it even applicable? Story does last forever, but even 5-6 years ago, the High Republic was a expanded universe idea.
Yeah. Well, I also think that if she was developing something with specific narrative underneath EA, that EA would probably have to retain the rights to that. So we'll see.
Could I just actually have a quick word to EA? Is that all right? Do you mind if I just...
Yeah. You know what, Maude? You go right ahead.
Give her a full screen. There we go.
EA, if you even think or contemplate about putting any kind of microtransaction in this motherfucking game, I guarantee, I promise you, with the essence of my being, will turn full dark side. And you underestimate the power of that dark side. Just drop and abandon microtransactions is all I'm saying. You ruined Star Wars Battlefront 2 because of that. The game bombed because you couldn't help but getting your little grubby hands on those microtransactions. That's not what gaming's about. We already bought the game. What else do you want? That's all. I'm done.
Woo! Bring in the heat. Well, Skydance is going to be the one who is producing this game. Now, if they're going to be self-publishing is yet to be seen. If they're going to partner with somebody, we don't know. I would imagine that they would self-publish, but we will just have to wait and see. Speaking of other big corporations that have evil plans. Even though I will say Jedi Fallen Order did not have any microtransactions, and it was a really wonderful, lovely game.
Do you know what it was?
What?
There was a quarter-second delay from a stormtrooper shooting at me and me being able to deflect with my lightsaber. And that quarter-second delay, the timing was slightly off for someone like me who has lightning reflexes, I guess, is the problem. Like, maybe I'm just too good. I'm not sure. Like, borderline actual Jedi over here. But there's just a frustrating thing where you're doing a basic move and you end up dying several times because you just haven't got like the timing of it down. So yeah, my ego was fractured for that game and I abandoned it.
Hey, you know what? At least you're honest about it. That's very admirable, Maude.
Thank you very much.
I applaud you. Absolutely.
It's true.
Appreciate that.
You were a big woman today. You did it. Good job.
All right, let's move on to the next story before things get too heated. Talking Star Wars. So Meta, which it's hard for me to call Facebook Meta. It's just weird.
It's Facebook. It's fucking weird. Facebook. You don't pay
Meta isn't Meta.
MetaQuest VR had a showcase. Also, that's a mouthful. MetaQuest VR. Previously, Oculus Quest. They had a bunch of VR games that they debuted and showed, and I have a list of them here. I'm going to pull up a couple because we don't need to go over absolutely everything in this list. That is, it's too many games. So, Maude, I'll let you pick first. Which one of the games on the list would you like to see or discuss?
I think the first one, Ghostbusters VR, would be a more interesting game to tackle in a VR landscape, I think. Like actually kind of having the headset on, but then putting your propulsion pack. What is it called? God, I'm losing all my nerd cred right now. I think that could be a lot of fun in a VR sense. Proton pack, thank you. I just wouldn't want it to go into horror because VR horror I will run away from kicking and screaming. If it was like more of like a Luigi's Mansion kind of vibe,
yeah, okay,
I'd be down. Except the squirting noise from Luigi's Mansion I still haven't gotten over.
Wait, there's a squirting noise?
Well, when you turn Luigi, like he has goo-Luigi. He turns into like goo. Yeah, but the noise that it would make to become Gooigi was just, I don't know, I clutched my pearls a little bit, didn't I?
Amazing.
I don't remember. I played that game. I loved it, but I don't remember that. But now I'll
try and trick your memory back into it. Hold on. No.
Wow.
That's not it.
That's pretty good.
That was fun. No, you legit like jogged it. Okay, yeah, the sploogey sound, it makes sense.
Luigi.
Luigi. Yeah. Okay.
But he's spluigied.
Luigi.
Spluigi. It was just right there the whole time.
Oh my God.
It's a children's game and I'm just here like furiously blushing. Anyway, sorry.
Now everybody's going to keep that sound with them all day long.
Anyway, there's another one, The Walking Dead game. No one cares. Does someone care? Actually, that's not fair.
How tragic is it, though, what happened to The Walking Dead? I think they just made so much content and just crammed it so quickly that people were like, no, I don't want any more, please. Stop.
This cash cow is just powdered milk at the moment. Like they have just milked it to the point that there's just nothing left.
It's dead. It's dead, this cow.
It's not, though. It's not. It's laying there going, please end my life, please. I'm in agony. And they're like, no. We'll get something from it.
Oh, man.
I absolutely think that there are people who are interested in this game. Otherwise, I don't think that they would be making it. I think that VR would work well. The other Walking Dead experience, because this isn't the first one, I don't think.
I can't keep track of them, honestly, at this point.
I like Telltale one, but that's the last one I ever dabbled in.
Oh, as far as like actual like video games in the Walking Dead universe?
Yeah. I think that's
I opted out a while ago.
Also, what is this trailer? It's just like a slow pan out?
Yeah, that's sure what it looks like. It's just not very
it's just like one shot, and it's like slow pan.
It makes me want a new BioShock game, though. That's what it's doing to me.
Well, we should hopefully be getting one of those sometime in the not too distant future. Oh, here we go. Here's some gameplay.
Okay, here we go.
Well, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, I've always thought these games look good. I just, for some reason, never got around to the first Saints and Sinners. But, maybe that's just on me for not having a play. Well, I do have the original Oculus Quest.
Britt, this feels like it would be right up your alley.
Oh, I know, girl. Listen, so much shit is right up my alley right now, but I'm just staring at it. I'm just like, yo, that looks so fun. But here's a nap instead.
What was the latest zombie game that came out last year, like Left 4 Dead?
Oh, are you thinking of Dying Light 2? Came out earlier this year.
Back for Blood?
Back for Blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
That also came out.
I didn't like that game.
Why didn't you like it?
I get really scared. And even though I was playing multiplayer, I think I had to, it's like the equivalent of having a really, really big night out and you get drunk and then you almost have to like apologize for your behavior the next day. It was kind of like that playing the game where it's like I screamed so much and I was just like so scared for my life playing it with other people that I had to like apologize.
Wow.
I wrecked their stream. I wrecked my stream. I wrecked eardrums. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess you're probably not really interested in the Resident Evil 4 Mercenaries mode then.
I'm so glad that's your thing. I'm so glad that's your thing. And I love that it's your thing. No, thank you. I'll have Star Wars.
Yes.
You do Resident Evil.
Yeah.
By our powers combined, we will literally cover half of gaming. That's fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like this.
We're a good team here. So yeah.
Power unit.
Yeah. So this is the Mercenaries mode. And admittedly, this is not a mode that I like to dabble in. It's essentially, how many of the Ganados can you kill in the time limit and how far can you get, blah, blah, blah.
Wesker was a bit creepy.
Wesker is really fucking creepy.
Check his hard drive.
He's not a good guy, Some people think he has a daddy aura about him, but to me, I think he just has a I'm gonna fucking murder you in your sleep aura about him. But hey, to each their own. But I did hear that. Oh my god, that big head mode. I'm sorry, I can't take big head mode seriously in any game unless it's NBA Jam. I just can't do it. Anyway, I've actually heard that Mercenaries is really it's fun. Not Mercenaries, sorry. Resident Evil 4 in VR is really good. I still have not played it because I'm just a fake gamer.
Oh, come on, Britt.
Who falsely claims to like Resident Evil. But I've heard it's actually a lot of fun.
You're doing it for the money.
I'm totally doing it for the money. Look how fucking rich I am recording the show in my pajamas. Like, that's how rich I fucking, I'm loaded.
That's my favorite argument. You're doing it for clout. You're doing it for money. And I'm like, if I was going to fake anything to make money, I would have chosen sports. Ain't
honestly,
no money like in what we do.
Amen to that. That's the thing, to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. But anywho, Resident Evil. I love it. But I guess I don't because I'm a fake gamer girl. But anywho, I do want to still play it in VR because I heard it's really fun. And I heard it actually works really well. But, I'll just wait for that supposed Resident Evil 4 remake that's not in VR.
Did you play Resident Evil 7 in VR?
Yeah. No, I didn't play the whole thing. I played a few of the demos, and then I played, the first half of it, I think. Or was it the first half? No, I didn't get out of the fucking house. Oh, hold up. Oh, no. I bitched out. The first, few hours of Resident Evil 7, I think, are the scariest part of that entire game. And, of course, that's the first stuff you experience when you're playing in VR. I pulled a mod. I bitched out. I was like, no, I'm not doing this anymore.
Huge of you to admit that. This is a safe space. We are here to protect you.
Thank you, Maude.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh boy. Oh, we're having a time. But what about you, Andrea? What one of these twists your panties in a good way?
Well, there's a couple. So there's two. So the one that kind of stood out to me, of course, as somebody who really loved the original, is Moss Book 2. We got to see, which is awesome. So Moss being the game about the adorable little mouse named Quill, and is created by a team called Polyarch, who we worked a lot with here at What's Good Games in our second year. They were a longtime sponsor of ours, which was awesome. And this game in VR, I really liked because it felt really innovative and unique, the way that they did the level design and the teleportation and just really the kind of camera perspectives and camera work that they did in the animation of this game made it so that I didn't actually feel like I was getting sick, because a lot of VR games make me feel really nauseous, and it's really hard for me to play VR, and I actually haven't played for quite some time because of that reason. So if all the games that I think that I would risk nausea for, this would probably be the one, knowing that the first one didn't make me sick. And then another game that I haven't played in a while that I really enjoyed playing for quite some time that would maybe be fun in VR, of course, is Among Us. And
oh, man.
This to me seems like a game that could definitely benefit from shenanigans in virtual reality.
Look how cute they are when they're just walking.
I actually wish you'd be able to control the hands on that. I think that would be a really nice adaptation for the VR. Like if you had your controllers and you were able to move sort of like their hands and gesticulate as your character, instead of just like being a thumb with the divot in it at the bottom.
I wonder if they have hands that come up for like the mini games that you have to do. I don't know.
Go pink, by the way. Pink with a flower in it. That's my jam.
I love all the little hats and stuff. It's been a while since I played Among Us.
I feel like Among Us's popularity was the perfect storm of timing, where we were all locked down and we couldn't do anything, and Zoom parties took off. But then anything that had a multiplayer aspect in it that was successful, oh no, you got boned, my man. That they did really, really well. But I just wonder if this is a game that can keep evolving and adapting to a current time, or if it's going to run its course. That's what's going to be interesting.
Well, I think this game is definitely going to have to evolve. So we saw a hand there. So I think what's interesting to me is I would be curious to know kind of what Inner Sloth had originally intended for Among Us 2, because they scrapped Among Us 2 to focus on updates and new content for Among Us. Like once they kind of hit a velocity on Steam and on Twitch, really people streaming it, they kind of came out and said, hey, we're kind of shelving our intentions with Among Us 2 and are just going to focus all of our energy and development on, making Among Us the thing that you guys know and love better, and to get more content updates and things like that, which I think was a really smart call. But it's only going to last for so long, right? Because people, I think even now it's definitely like not nearly as popular as it used to be, but is still so accessible as a game. So I'll be curious, like maybe what was on the production pipeline for stuff for the second game, if it was just new maps or if it was new mechanics and what else they had in the works. But yeah, Among Us VR. So if you want to, murder your friends in virtual reality.
Why did so well.
Now you can. There was quite a few other games. I'm just going to run through them really quickly. We got to look at NFL Pro Era. We got to look at Red Matter 2, Aspire 2, Runes Magus, Cities VR, which had already been previously announced. Beat Saber, of course, has the electronic mixtape, which is a DLC pack that they announced, and then Bone Lab, which is really kind of terrifying.
What's
sounding.
Bone Lab about?
So, yeah, it says, escaping execution, you'll find yourself in a mysterious underground lab. Uncover the truth about your reality. Fight, run, and climb as you explore an exquisitely detailed combat simulation. So let me see if I can pull up the...
So exquisitely detailed combat simulation. Like, I don't want to get too fucking exquisitely detailed if I'm playing something in VR.
Same.
Keep it simple, please.
I need the Uncanny Valley to make it to ground me.
Yeah. That's where every object reacts the way you'd exactly expect. Bone Lab promises to deliver a new story, mod support, plus 2 years of innovation and interaction engine progress when it launches later this year. Okay. Well, we're watching it right now. YouTube.com/whatsgoodgames. Dark cavern, dead. I once said dead skeleton. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Holding a torch, walking down what looks like a mine.
Yeah, it's kind of got like a mashup of styles. Like at first, I thought it was maybe more high fantasy, but it definitely is a modern game. You're in some kind of kind of a cave. Now you're on an escalator.
Oh, that's where I think I'd get fucked up, looking down while on an escalator in VR. But we'll have to see. Oh, and falling. Oh God. I mean, I think it looks good. I mean, here's what I've always said this with VR. I think we're getting to a point now where when it first was launched and announced, like all of the headsets, I got every single headset. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, oh, immerse me, blah. And now, but it was just like it didn't do it for me. The tech was way too early. But now, as it's progressing, and we're seeing, Sony's next VR headset only require one cord, and we have the wireless Quest, and then seeing this kind of footage where it's starting to look more like a actual. Don't flame me for this video game and not like a tech demo. I think that's getting me all sorts of hot and bothered in a good way. But it's the nausea thing that I think once the tech catches up with that, it makes it easier to not feel like you're gonna hurl,
I've said it before. I'll say it again. VR is the stepping stone to AR. And VR is probably going to take 10 years to be able to seamlessly transition to AR. But for me, this isn't something that I'm going to invest in because I just think it's like the prototype for what we're actually going to eventually get into when it comes to gaming.
Interesting. All in on Magic Leap, I guess.
Yeah.
Magic Leap.
I'm patient. I'm happy to wait.
It's an AR.
Is that the pad?
Yeah, no, it's an AR headset that raised a boatload of money. And they put out some games, but we haven't really heard a lot from Magic Leap lately. And I think it's because they're doing more private enterprise stuff and not necessarily consumer-focused things because that's where the real money is.
My mind goes to Leap Pad, which is like that children's brand, right? That makes...
Yeah.
So Magic Leap. Okay. That's a bad choice for a name.
I feel
hire better people.
Yeah, I feel like somebody just invested in them. It was last fall. There was a story that came out 7 years after raising $542 million at a $2 billion valuation. Magic Leap has raised another $500 million at a $200 billion or $2 billion evaluation. I mean, that's a
magic leap.
That's a lot of money that they have raised.
That's a magic jump.
Oh boy. So it'd be interesting to see clearly somebody's investing their money because they know something that we don't.
Yeah.
So
isn't that it?
I'm sure they'll reemerge from their secret bunker that they're in with something really cool at some point. Probably military related, let's be honest. That'd be my guess. That kind of money usually reeks of government contracts. Because why not? Yeah. Take it from the taxpayers. All right, don't get me started. Britt, you put something in for me.
I did. This little story comes from Video Game Chronicle, and it's called Portal Writer Says He Wants to Start Portal 3 because, quote, he's not getting any younger. So I know how much you love the Portal game, so I thought this could just be something kind of fun to talk about for a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, so speaking on the Kiwi Talks podcast, Eric Wolpaw, who co-wrote Portal and Portal 2, as well as Psychonauts, Half-Life 2, Episode 1 and 2, Left 4 Dead, and Half-Life Alyx, ended the show by stating, "We've got to start Portal 3. That's my message to whoever." He added, "I'm not getting any younger. We are reaching the point where it's crazy to think that we're literally going to be too old to work on Portal 3, so we should just do it." When asked if he'd like to make a third game, he replied, "Oh yeah, I'd love to. I would work on another Portal in a second, but I can't make it happen by myself." The host then suggested that Portal 3 would nevertheless be profitable for Valve, to which Wolpaw agreed. "Hey, you're preaching to the choir here. You'd make some money. The problem is, you would make money, but what kind of money would you make? Are you going to make Counter-Strike Go money? Probably not. But having said that, maybe every game doesn't need to make Counter-Strike Go money. You know, Gabe, if you're listening." He smiled.
Ooh, okay. Some spice on the end there. I absolutely love that he just came out and said, "I want to make this. Let's make it. I'm getting old. I don't want to write this game, from my deathbed." I agree. Portal 3 is long overdue, would be an amazing game. It's just like all the other stuff in Valve's portfolio, right? Like Left 4 Dead 3, Half-Life 3. Valve is just not the publisher that they used to be, right? And it is frustrating that a lot of game companies are foregoing smaller art projects or even games that are successful. I mean, listen, selling a couple million copies is still making pretty good money. I don't actually know how much the Portal franchise has sold, but I imagine it's done very well because those games are very good. Portal 2 being one of my top 10 best games ever created. Another masterpiece game, and there's so few of them out there. It's just frustrating that it feels like an easy win, especially since they could make it in VR too. Put it on.
There you go.
Put it on Vive, put it on all the consoles, on PC, just put it everywhere. It'd be a great game.
100%. Eric's right. There's no reason why this shouldn't be getting made. And the reason why Portal 2 is a masterpiece is because I actually recently replayed the entire game with Trisha, and the game holds up. Not only just in the puzzle kind of playthrough elements, but storytelling, writing, graphics. Even now, it still holds up. And there's so many things that don't in the last 10 years for semi-obvious reasons. But this science is so cool. Another thing as well, which is super frustrating with Valve, is that I broke a story back in 2014 interviewing J.J. Abrams. And he actually confessed that he had the rights to Portal and Half-Life to make movies. And he was going to make a Portal movie.
Amazing.
And he was going to make a Half-Life movie. And I remember on the carpet, everyone's like, I don't understand. And all the color drained from my face. And I'm like,
do I have an exclusive?
This bastard wants to make a Portal movie and a Half-Life movie. And he was kind of like, yeah, I've got the rights. I just kind of it should happen. We could do this. And I don't know who's saying no or can't be bothered, but they are sitting on a goldmine of great, great properties. And we could see it get expanded over different genres and mediums. So we could get a Portal 3 and a Portal movie. Valve, get your shit together. Even Eric's over it.
Amen. As Brittany's holding up her preach hand.
And the rights to the rights to those don't last too long. So usually it's about you get a 5 or 10 year deal with it. And if nothing gets made from it, then you relinquish the rights to it.
So hopefully that doesn't happen. JJ having the rights is exciting.
Games. There's nothing out there like it. We see a lot of games is it Crossfire X? Maybe not. Maybe I made that up. No, I made that up. There's another game out there recently where it's an online battle royale and you do the portals and shit. Jason was playing it for a bit and I was watching him play it. I think Devolver published it. Whatever.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Let me see if I can get the name of it.
There's just nothing like it out there. And I still think about that game and it still makes me laugh when I think of oh, hi, how are you? Because I'm a potato. That line always gets me. Splitgate, thank you. And I don't know how many people are going back to playing Portal or Portal 2 who've never played them before. I don't know because I remember when I first, started in this industry, I had never played Portal, but all of my people who I followed on Twitter were talking about it. It was the hotness. It was you aren't a real gamer if you haven't played Portal, or at least know the what's the song, the famous song called that's in that
GLaDOS's Nightmare tune.
Yeah. And so I would just listen to it and play it and I just loved it so much. And I'm now I get it. Now I understand why this is one of those games that I feel you have to play, not to be considered a gamer. That shit's stupid. No gatekeeping here. Right. But it's definitely one of those experiences that I think everyone should have. And I don't know if those games are so popular, if the new crowd is even playing those. So I feel
they should.
They should.
Like Maude said, they're timeless and they absolutely hold up. And they're such an approachable game because there's minimal combat. It's almost all puzzle and traversal based, so you can take your time. There's not these constraints of pressure that you get in so many of the PvP experiences that are really popular. And I think the comedy writing is some of the best that video games has ever seen. And it's just such a joy to play those games, and they just feel so approachable. And games like that just don't really get made anymore, and that's
I'm not a science girl, and I love this game. I don't know who wouldn't like or appreciate this game. It's honestly for everyone. Everyone can get something from it, except a third game.
I would even take a remake, honestly. Give me a remake if you don't want to make a new one. I would prefer Portal 3, but I would take a good remake. Redo the orange box. Come on.
Is it kind of refreshing though? Because I feel like we were just talking about Walking Dead, where it's like just churn them out until it's dust. Like, is it kind of nice that we are left wanting something?
Not
is
for
it
this
almost
long.
like 10 years since the last game?
I know. It's so sad. And I looked it up, and it looks like the sales of the franchise, as reported in 2012, were over 8 million. So I think it's like 4 million for Portal, 4 million for Portal 2, which is nothing to shake a stick at. I would have thought it was higher than that. And maybe it is. Obviously, now it's 10 years later.
Yeah.
I'm sure they still sold a bunch of copies since then. But yeah, well, we'll put it out into the universe for you, Eric, that we want Portal 3 to happen as well.
Yes, we will sign your petition.
Yes. Link me up. Let's do it. Okay, a couple quick items before we take our break. Xenoblade Chronicles 3's release date has been moved up. What a surprise. It hasn't been delayed. Instead, it's coming out sooner. Originally scheduled for September, Nintendo has announced that its new release date will be July 29th.
This never happens.
I think I've only recall it happening like twice in my entire time covering video games where a release date was moved up.
This is exciting. Nintendo.
That's because Xenoblade Chronicles really needs to put more effort into the graphics, but they don't.
Ooh, Maude just coming with the hot takes today.
Sorry. I remember I tried to get into it on the Nintendo Wii, and apparently it was like such a good game. The story was amazing. But like it felt like I was playing it on a previous gen PlayStation, and I just couldn't and I know that's hard because Nintendo just went, we're not here for graphics, we're here for amazing gameplay. But when you make a game that looks like it could be a PlayStation or Xbox or a PC game, it was just so hard to
Don't get me started.
Yeah.
Don't get me.
I'm like, them's fighting words. Watch out.
I got my whiskey here because I agree with Maude. I might have to take a swig depending on how heated I get. No, I'm with you. I'm playing Rune Factory 5 right now on my Switch. Also could run on last gen or even the gen before that. And it's laggy. The frames, they're not about frames. They're about experiences. Oh, cool, outdated opinion, Grandma. Great. Fuck.
I know that Pokemon Arceus got a lot of slack for not having sort of like the best graphics, that it looked like 2017's Breath of the Wild. Okay, yeah, right. And it's just like we just and she's drinking, and this is why we're friends. I just like I don't like that. I am affected as a gamer when I'm distracted by dated graphics.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, Britt knows that I've had this stance for a long time, that I appreciate and love Nintendo, of course. You know, I grew up on Nintendo games. Still to this day, I love Nintendo games. It's just frustrating that, you know, the industry is doing so much as far as innovation in photogrammetry and animation, engineering, rigging, all of it. And it feels like those games just keep looking the same.
Yeah. Because they have some of the best experiences on their platform. I 100% back that up, and I will fight for that opinion till the day I die. But yeah, it's just this, I don't know. It's hard when you go from an Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5 to go to the Switch game, right? And you're just like, come on, like, you know, it's not like they're sitting on like $5 in their bank account. There's just But anywho, I know there's gonna be people in the comments like, Nintendo is special. They can do what they want. It doesn't matter if their graphics suck. Their experiences are.
But it's like sell that beautiful, beautiful franchise. Sell that game to a studio that will put it through the rendered graphics that we all are desperate for.
It's
you know,
not the game. It's the system can't run those games.
But that's why I'm only ever going to play games like Octopath Traveler on the Switch. You know, so it's just like. Yeah, I'm not there for the graphics. I'm there for the story.
We just need the Switch Pro, Nintendo. Just announce it already.
I'm going to make a Brit call. It's definitely coming out next year alongside Breath of the Wild 2. It has to.
Feels right.
It has to.
Feels right.
It has to. I mean, that's not like a huge, like, oh my God, call. Like, no shit, Sherlock is probably happening. But I'm putting it out into the universe.
All right. Well, I hope it comes true.
Thanks.
The last 2 bullet points from Hollywood Reporter: Aquaman and Dune star Jason Momoa is lining up another tentpole with Warner Brothers. The actor is in final negotiations to star in the studio's live-action Minecraft movie. The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that the Napoleon Dynamite filmmaker Jared Hess will direct the project.
So this is a great example of upgrading your graphics.
So what does a Minecraft movie look like? I mean, besides Minecraft, like, is he going to get transported into the Minecraft universe? Is it going to be like Jumanji? Like, I'm so interested in seeing how this shakes out.
Yeah.
I will say, like, Jumanji and Free Guy are the latest movies that have kind of like used the video game concept and elevated it instead of like, previously your Assassin's Creeds and your Prince of Persia's where you're just like, oh, you just foregoed all story. But I think you're right. It has to be in that kind of like tongue-in-cheek way.
Yeah.
But like, good on them they've made a Angry Birds movie. They made a Tetris movie, didn't they? They made, what was the Adam Sandler one? Pac-Man was in it. Buh.
Oh, I don't remember what that one was called.
Ready Player. No, that wasn't it.
That's different. I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't remember what it's called.
Pixels.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they can make a script out of anything these days.
Yeah.
But go Jason Momoa.
Detective Pikachu is my favorite video game movie so far.
Still haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so good, Maude.
I've got to. I'll do it today, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you'll enjoy it. It's fun. And it's got Ryan Reynolds in it. He's great.
We like Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
Mind you, he's just churning out some pretty average Netflix movies time after time after time, isn't he?
Getting those paychecks, yo.
Dude, he's sitting on a mound of gold. Appreciate that. You earned it, my man.
This last one is a little weird. According to Bloomberg, Sega is developing big budget reboots of its Dreamcast games, Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio, as it taps its back catalog in search of the next global hit like Epic Games' Fortnite, according to people familiar with its plans. Spoilers, everybody making video games everywhere. You can't create Fortnite. It's lightning in a bottle. Like, you cannot set out to be like, we need to make the next Fortnite. That's literally not how global phenomenons work. It's like trying to create a viral video. That's just it's not how it happens.
I will say though, this has Gen X all over it. This smells like Gen X at play here, where it's like I can see the meeting and how it went down. Yes. You've got your 42-year-old CEO who's just like, what are we going to do? You know what? My favorite was, I say Sega. Sorry, I'm Aussie. But like, what were the Sega games that were just abandoned? Let's bring it back. And all the other Gen Xers immediately got boners because they were like, yeah, to play, let's do it. And they're like, here's stupid money to make it happen. Gen X actually is the reason why geek content became mainstream again. So I actually really do appreciate that generation. Thank you.
Thank you.
So except if this is a shit game, then I will waggle my finger
and curse them up and down. So these two games are part of Sega's, it's called right here, the Super Game Initiative, which they announced a year ago. So essentially, this is their initiative where they want to try to make games as a service, like Fortnite, and they want their reoccurring revenue stream. So like, for some reason they decided to go with Crazy Taxi and Jet Set Radio. I don't know how you would make a Crazy Taxi game into a game as a service. Like, that game is so simple. You pick people up, you take
anymore. The whole concept's redundant.
Yeah, like you pick people up for the children in the room who don't know what Crazy Taxi is or slept through the Dreamcast era, which I loved my Dreamcast. Skies of Arcadia, shout out. You're a taxi driver. You pick up people and you have to take them to a certain location within a certain amount of time, and you get a better ranking depending on when you drop them off. Like, that's my memory of Crazy Taxi. Nothing like super, But
I feel like the modernized version of that is unmedicated Uber. Like
Unmedicated Uber. Amazing
indeed. I mean, if they think Crazy Taxi can get them hundreds of millions of dinero every year, like, go on with your bad self. But I don't know.
I'm trying to find a trailer, and all I'm getting is the Crazy Taxi City Rush, that game that came out like 8 years ago, I think. I was trying to find like one of the old school Crazy Taxi trailers. Oh, there's just so many that are like so old. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is
Here's
this?
some more info. It says the Crazy Taxi game has been in development for over a year, and the Tokyo-based entertainment group aims to release it within 2 to 3 years. And it's hoped to make content and services that can create a large community and as much as $100 billion in lifetime revenue. Oh my God. See, yes. Look at this.
Oh, so crazy.
Just
oh my
like, oh my goodness.
You need to calm down there. It's so crazy.
Oh man, I don't remember these games looking like this. I remember playing Crazy Taxi on Dreamcast and being like, yo, this game looks so sick. Whoa. And now all I see are polygons.
I'm actually getting Final Fantasy 15 vibes from that last shot. That's exciting.
What? Oh, ouch.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen, I think it has the potential to do something cool. Will be the next Fortnite. I have my doubts. Would not be holding my breath if I were them. But that's going to do it for our news for this week. When we come back, we're going to talk about what we've been playing. Stick with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. It is the second segment of the What's Good Games podcast, and this is where we talk about what we've been playing and any preview events that we have been to. And Brittany, it looks like you have finally finished the Kaito Files.
Oh, girl, it took me 2.5 weeks to play a 10-hour game. But you know what? Here we are.
That's the life now.
Yeah, I was so surprised by the Kaito Files. So this is, I've talked about it a few times on the show, but Lost Judgment's recent story DLC, which features Kaito, who is like a supporting character throughout the Judgment series. And we've never really gotten a good look at him as a character, who he is, what his past was. We never really knew. And because of that, I never was the biggest fan of Kaito. But what this DLC does is it really peels back. Kaito's a big ol' onion. It peels back all the layers on him. And you really get to learn a lot about him and his motivations for like pretty much anything. And it puts him in a situation where he's very vulnerable. And he grew on me so much to the point, Andrea, that I think I'm now going to consider him a husbando.
Ooh,
and I never would have done that before. I mean, that, like I would hit it. Like I would 100% hit it. I'll read all the raunchy fan fiction. Like I'm into him now. But you know what's so interesting about it is this expansion is purely main story driven. There's no side quest in it, no Yagami in it. There's no side stuff to really do in it except for walk around Kamurocho and find cats and other shit. It's kind of like his power. He gets a sixth sense and he can smell shit and listen to shit and find cats. It's a thing. Anyway, irrelevant. But there's no of the wacky side stories. There's none of that. And that to me, at first, I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. I feel like this is maybe just like something rushed, or why, where's all the stuff I'm used to in RGG games and all the Yakuza games. But I gotta say, I almost, and maybe, oh God, this is scary. I think I like this DLC maybe more than the entirety of Lost Judgment itself.
Wow.
And that's so weird for me to say that. And I know I'm like being a big nerd right now. I'm like, oh, I have a new statement to make. But it's wild because what I love about these games is how silly their side content is. And I did miss that. But having this DLC be solely focused on just one narrative and on one character and his journey, I was like, fuck, that was really good. And so I don't know how to feel right now with my emotions, because I always want the side missions to continue in these games because they're just priceless, but I'm like, fuck it was really good without it though. So anyway, if you are contemplating playing this DLC, I would highly encourage you to. I've said it many times on the show. I think RGG is just such a talented studio, and I think because of the games they've made and published, I think they don't have as wide of an audience as other studios do, which is understandable. Not everyone's into a Yakuza story. Fine, whatever, you do you. I don't agree with you, but like, hey, you do you. But yeah, I was just really impressed by it. So yeah, I just want to give a shout out to the DLC. I usually don't do a lot of DLC. I played Final Fantasy 15's DLC. I did Resident Evil 7's DLC, but generally when I finish a game and a DLC gets tacked on after, I don't go back to it because I feel like I've played the experience, like that door has closed. But for this, I went back and I'm really happy I did. So yeah. Really
I'm glad to hear it. I mean, you have a deep love of this franchise, and I think, it feels like the thing that you would take the time to play DLC for. So do you think it's changed your opinion on other DLCs that you might go back and give them a second go around that you maybe just skipped over?
Maybe. It depends. If it's purely narrative, which is why, again, I went to Final Fantasy 15, why I went to, what was the game I just mentioned? I don't even remember.
Did you play the Frozen Wilds in Horizon?
I did, but by the time I played it, it was already lumped into the game.
Gotcha.
So I did, but it was really good. So yeah, I think so. I think it has opened my eyes a little bit more on stuff I could be missing, but I think I'd really have to enjoy the game to go back to it. But anyway. Lots of husbandos. I have a new one in my life this week, ladies, and I'm very happy about it.
Oh, well, I'm happy that you're happy. Maude, it looks like you've been playing a lot of the games that I have been playing, except for Pokemon. So which one of these games do you want to talk about first?
I think Tiny Tina's Wonderland is the one I've been playing recently the most, just to get a bit of a breather from Elden Ring, because that was just slightly masochistic for me to play.
Yep.
I liked Tiny Tina's because I'm reasonably okay with that Borderland play style of like looter shooter where there's just so much loot that it's honestly like barely even worth picking up anymore. And half the time, like, there's about 48 things happening on the screen at any given time. So I honestly don't know if I'm killing something or if I'm dying or if I'm having, a borderline seizure / ADHD attack, because there's just a lot going on. But I'm surprisingly okay with that style of gameplay. And I think because I am a massive TTRPGer, so, I've played lots of D&D. I've created my own D&D version of a tabletop game. I really love the elements of bringing in sort of a Borderlands style gameplay and the look and feel of it with this absolute nerdy D&D take. Having Tiny Tina sort of as your dungeon master, talking you through this campaign. I have decided to play a Spore Warden, or a Sporden as I call it. And
Nice.
My little sidekick is Mushy, the mushroom that goes in and literally empties his guts in a gaseous sort of explosion.
Amazing.
Which I'm incredibly proud of him every time he does do that. There's Mushies. But I've been really enjoying it. I think the dialogue is some of the funniest that I've heard in a video game lately. But I will say I can't really play this game at long periods of time because I just stop talking. And that's not the best when streaming. I will kind of glaze over and it just becomes an emulsifier.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You just kind of like drop into the zone. You get like that gamer face and then you forget that
black jaw
people that are watching you.
Glassy eyes. I can't do real-time strategy streaming anymore and I've actually made an emote in my channel that says "in the zone." And I'll kind of glance at the chat and it's just walls of this emote. And I kind of like, stop drooling. And I'm like, oh, how long has it been since I've said anything? And it's like, oh, yeah, 42 minutes. And it's like, oh, okay.
Whoa.
My bad. Sorry. Thanks for still being here, I guess. But yeah, I've been enjoying the game. I haven't finished it yet, but I should soon.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Tiny Tina. It's a great game for me to just turn on and I can play in short bursts. I sadly haven't gotten to team up with people, and I think this is a game that would be fun to play. So it's got full crossplay. We should play, Maude.
Play.
Yeah,
Thursday afternoons if you're free.
Let's do
Great.
it.
Need a spellcaster. I actually think I've got some good spellcaster armor for you if you need it. Oh, that's what friends are for.
Exactly. I mean, and this game is clearly, a game meant to be played with friends. And hold on, my cat needs to urgently go out. Here, buddy.
Kitty. I would pick up my fat dog, but she's the reason why I hurt my back.
Oh,
Literally picking up
no.
my fat dog. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sad. Poor dog. For you.
She hurt her paw halfway through the hike, so I had to carry her the rest of the way.
Oh,
Back
no.
done.
How big is your dog?
Well, she's like supposed to be a long-haired Dachshund cross spaniel. She's like 23 pounds when she should be 18. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah.
A little
COVID.
Little roly-poly. It's okay.
And the vet was like, your dog is now considered in the slightly overweight class. And I was like, say that to my face. I will take you on if you want to come for my dog. I was like, I'm so sorry. I just physically threatened you with violence because of that remark.
Where did that come from? Oops,
I get what it's like to be a mum. I get it. Like, Lord help me.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, someone said that about our dog, too. And my husband immediately put him on a diet. And now he looks like he's starving all the time. But he's not. He's healthy. He's healthy. The vet's like, oh, he's perfect now. He's great. I'm like, he looks like he needs to eat.
My dog's the saddest they've ever been. If I have any kind of food, ooh.
Putting your pets on diets is so hard because then they just come and look at you like, can I have snacks? Can I have treats? I'm still hungry. And I'm like, but you are so roly-poly right now. You don't need anything else to eat. And they're like, but why not? You're having a snack. And I was like, don't guilt me about my snacks.
I know.
Oh.
Yeah, but we love our furry friends. They're wonderful. We were talking about video games. And we got sidetracked by the animals that we love because one of my kittens was trapped out here in the studio and he decided he wanted to leave. Okay, I do want to hear about your Elden Ring experience. Are you just starting? Are you in the middle? Are you one of the many people in my feed that's like platinumed? Where are you at?
Yeah, halfway through sounds about right. I had an experience sort of early on where I opened up a chest and was transported halfway across the map to this unknown area where I was completely underleveled. I think I was about level 7 and everyone was about 180. And that was, I think I cried because I just couldn't get out. I couldn't kill anything. I couldn't leave. And it was just like, it's like a video game being like, you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, I know, but what can we do about it? And that's just not a fun experience. But I have been playing with a friend who, when they play these sorts of games, they get quite addicted. And so then they become super, super high powered and get to pull me along and help me and save my ass. And so that has been fun. Yeah. But I had an experience where, when I was playing online, streaming with my friend, the code showed up and some people, I would invite my community in to help me with big boss battles. So much fun, really great, love those moments. And then there'd be this one asshole that jumped into my game PvP and they killed my friend, my high-powered bodyguard. They killed them quite quickly. And then they taunted me in my own stream. So I had previously died, and so my tens of thousands of runes were left, and I was trying to just collect them. And they, this unknown person was basically toying with me. They followed me. They would jump in front of me and block me off, and they would just kind of like, they killed me when I was feet away from my many runes. And I dropped so many C-bombs in that stream that I was like,
boot them? Or how does that work?
No, when it's an invader, when you're playing online and an invader has come into your game, like there's really nothing you can do outside of disconnecting. You could like turn you could turn your console off.
I should have.
And just be I
should have quit the game
and just nope out of there. It's kind of a cheese. I actually don't know how that works with your runes. Do you lose them when you do that, or
so I call it you die. So when you die, you drop your runes, and so you've got to whatever you've sort of amassed in that time, they're all on the ground, and so it's your job to pick them up before you die again.
Right.
But if you die before you're able to collect your runes, you lose them completely, and I call that being dead. And in this instance, this absolute C-bomb killed me before I was able to retrieve my runes, meaning that the 4 hours that I'd just played was made almost redundant because I lost all of that. And obviously this person was like,
Elden Ring is hard.
Yeah, and it's just, I love it when it brings people together and it's a lot of fun. But this person was obviously like trolling feeds.
Griefing, yeah.
And I really verbally took it out on them. And I don't know if they ever saw my very, very expletive-ridden rant, but I said things that I wasn't proud of. And I'm sure that if any company saw that footage, I wouldn't really work in this industry again.
Wait, is it still online?
Well, I was just like, please don't ever clip that, and deleted the VOD. So, but like,
that's smart that you got rid of the VOD. I was gonna say like, if it's still up, we should probably take it down.
Yeah, there's so many C-bombs in a row, which I think the word's great. I, as an Australian, love that word, but I just didn't like that. I didn't like that moment, and I kind of quit the game after that.
Yeah, it sounds like a rage quit inducing moment for sure. I didn't have something as traumatic happen to me, but I was going to attack Margit for the first time. And I was with 2 friends, and we were in the castle, and there was an invader who just kept griefing us. And I don't know how this person got into my game like 3 separate times. It was the same person. I think it's because like of the way that the servers were set up or something. I don't know. It was just like really unlucky. Because hypothetically, there's, at any given time, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people all playing. And I don't know why I just kept getting this asshole in my game. And so we ended up playing in somebody else's game. But it was just like, we're just in the dungeon trying to go after the boss. It's not like I'm roaming the open world. And they just are explicitly trying to go after people who are trying to do the boss fight. I'm like, what a dick.
Yeah, like targeted harassment. I know. It just stops being fun. And there's also the time where I was taking on a boss. So I was playing with Trisha, and I would jump into her game and help her out with the boss. And, she beat it in the first go. And I had not so surreptitiously dropped to her while we were playing, because she takes her time and I'm direct line of fire. I kind of mentioned to her that I was better at the game than her. And she didn't really take that well, but I was like, hey, we've got different game styles, but mine is superior in every way. So that when she joined my game to try and beat the boss battle and I died 7 times in a row, I had to not only eat my words, but publicly apologize because I was clearly wrong. And that, ego fractured in so many different areas that I, again, just decided to opt out of the game completely.
I was reading how a new griefing tactic that people are doing in Elden Ring is they take what's called the deathbed smalls. Have you heard about this?
No.
And so there's a character in the game. I don't play Elden Ring, but
the little naked boy?
What?
You can unlock like a little naked boy who helps you out.
I hope that's not. I don't know. So the character's name is Fia, Fia. Anyway, somewhere you can hug. I don't know.
The hidden pair of underwear?
The hidden pair of underwear. Yeah. So it's a hidden pair of underwear. And you can only get it if you hack the game. So what people are doing is they're hacking it, grabbing the underwear, and then dropping it in other people's games. And if the other person picks it up, it'll ban you for like 180 days or something like that.
No, what?
Yeah.
That's
so this is on
awful.
Polygon. Yeah. So so players are getting a warning after the underwear gets dropped off. Delete the panties or get soft banned. It means you can still use multiplayer, but are instead tossed into a quarantine queue with other soft banned players. Because that's what it is. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, it's just wild to me. The things people do, like the way people spend their time. Whatever.
Yeah. I like, just tell me that you hate yourself. Like, don't show me. To save everyone's time and energy.
That's funny. Oh my goodness. My God. Just tell me that you hate yourself. I do, think that Elden Ring has some really interesting, fun qualities to it, but it just, like you mentioned, it just the parts of it that aren't fun, I think, have counterbalanced the fun parts for me personally. And I'm glad that so many people in our community have been having wonderful, positive, great experiences with the game. And it's just like mine has been kind of like 50-50. And to me,
80-20.
Yeah. Yours sounds like literally traumatic.
I've liked it.
As Britt mentioned, I just ain't got that time for something that's not 100% enjoyable. So
it's a time sink, big time. I think also the class is super important because there are some that are, I think, more OP than other different ones. Like I started as a bandit and then I changed over to an astrologer and the game became like 40% easier.
I started as an astrologer, knowing that I wanted to.
Then there's no help for you. I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm embarrassed with you and for you. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All spells all the time, except I don't have powerful enough spells and I don't have enough points, and the grind is just so laborious. I'll go back to it. I'll go back to it eventually. I
was leveling up by foraging for the first like 10 levels because I was so scared of like doing any combat with anyone. So I was picking it. I was, what did I call it? Like Elden Ring's florist. I was just going around picking all the flowers and then cashing them in for 10 runes a pop and leveling up that way. Oh dear.
There's a lot of good cheeses for leveling. I went to the internet, of course, was just like Elden Ring power leveling. Give me all of the tips, and there's like so many guides that were really helpful. But it just goes back to the conversation that we've had with a couple other guests of, is that the gameplay experience you like? Is that a good style of developing a game where you don't tell your players how to do anything, you just make your community figure it out? Like, how do you feel about that? And my consensus was it's not my preferred method of gameplay development. I like there to be a little bit of hand-holding. I don't mind a bunch of exploration and a bunch of, secrets in the game and things to find and things to discover. I think that's why people really loved Breath of the Wild. But a little bit of signposting goes a long way, Like a quest log isn't that much to ask.
Yeah.
Keep track of people's names and stuff.
I couldn't tell you the lore at all. I couldn't tell you a damn thing about that story.
All I know that there's 2 giant fingers, and they're apparently very important.
Oh,
the fingers.
Oh. Yeah, George R.R. Martin wrote that. What a randy dog. So much fingering.
Oh, yeah, there it is. I was hoping for some finger innuendo. Thank you, Maude.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
I mean, he is. I already said my piece on George R.R. Martin when I went on my Brandon Sanderson rant last week. A good rant. It was a rant about how much I love Sanderson and how disappointed I was that he wants to make a game with From Software and Bandai Namco. I was like, why them? Not that they're bad. They're not bad people by any means. They make a very specific type of game. And I was just like, but your books deserve more. But then, we talked about how it was actually going to be a different original experience, not tied to one of his books. Anyway, it was a long conversation. Maude, you should have been here for it.
I know. I was like lit up when you said that. I was like, yes.
Did you see? I assume you saw that news that Sanderson publicly said, I want to do something with Bandai Namco.
He was doing a video game.
Yeah, and then
I didn't know
Bandai Namco
like
sent him something that he opened on his podcast and was like, they were like, we're ready when you are.
Oh, all I know is that Kickstarter announcement where he's basically like just taking over the world and churning out books. I was like, that's great. Because I just finished Mistborn.
Yeah. Well, you just got into Mistborn?
I finished the first trilogy. I loved it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
Yeah. So good.
That's all I'll say.
The second trilogy is also pretty good. It's not as good as the first one, but
never
still very
is,
good.
Right?
No. Nah. All right, poor Brittany. We won't go down Brandon Sanderson rabbit hole, Britt, I promise. We do have a couple questions from our community. I have them on my phone, but Britt did pull this one from friend of the show, all around wonderful human and recipient of the GDC Ambassador Award at the Game Developers Choice Awards that happened at GDC. Stephen Spawn wrote in and said, who is the best Steve named Stephen Spawn?
This feels oddly specific.
Take your time and think about it if you need to.
Yeah, it's good to think about it. I know it's a tough question.
I know a lot of Stevens, especially Stephen Spawns. So I'm just trying to think which one's my favorite one.
Yeah, it's hard. We're not trying to put you on the spot. We're not about that here at What's Good. If you don't want to answer it, we'll respect that and we'll give you some space.
He's just so quick at burning. I don't know if you see the way that he and Alana just absolutely dump on each other in feeds where they're just so brutal. It's like popcorn. I've got a front seat. It's great. Do I want to jump into that? Probably not, because I don't know if I could handle it. You guys have heard off camera how I can be quite wicked with my words. So I'm just going to opt out and choose being nice for once. See how it feels on me. Oh. Stephen Spawn is the best Stephen Spawn.
Aw, look at that.
Oh.
That's wonderful.
That's a good answer.
He does have quite an edge. We were talking about him and Alana and their banter when they announced or when they were doing their accessibility award show. And then she, of course, got to present him with his award at GDC, which was pretty cool because she hosted the Game Developers Choice Awards. And she's also giving the Storytime opening talk at PAX this week.
Oh, yeah, PAX. Yeah.
She's just everywhere. You're going to have busy ladies.
She's crushing it.
All these busy ladies.
I love it.
I feel like I don't think I'll ever be able to retain my title as busiest lady in the business ever again. I don't know. Maybe those days are done for me.
But what an honor to be able to pass that one on, though, and actually breathe and sleep.
Right? Now that you mention it, maybe it is time.
I was going to say.
Heavy is the crown, right?
You're busy, just not in the same way.
Different.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Busiest lady not in the business.
Oh, God, help us all. It's so
my
tiring.
So at Quirky Little Fox wrote, what game did you hate growing up that you love now or vice versa?
Great question. What game did I... You know what? I think if I would say any of them, games like Tetris, where it just takes a lot of patience, which I had an abundance of as a child, that I just have a really, really short fuse for now. But I played a lot of Tetris in my heyday and really, really enjoyed it. And I recently went and played a little Dr. Mario.
Yes.
And I remember loving that as a kid and being quite frustrated at the game now. I'm just trying to think of a game that I did not like growing up, though, that I love now. And I just don't.
That's a tricky one.
What I didn't like when I was a kid, you know?
I definitely didn't play horror games or shooters as a kid. I didn't start playing first-person shooters until my 20s.
Yeah.
I got dumped playing Counter-Strike, so.
Oh, no. What?
When I was 16, yeah.
Oh,
I pretended I didn't know how to play video games. We were on a date in the mall, and he was like, oh, all my friends are playing LAN. And he was like, do you want to play? And I was like, well, we're on a date, you asshole. But I was like, sure. It was date number 2 or 3, so he had no idea I was very, very much into video games. And so I pretended I didn't know how to play. And I was like, oh, is this it? Well, what's fire? And he's like instantly regretting that he's brought me along. Anyway, like 5 minutes into the first match, I was like, is this right? And my gun was lined up at the back of his head. And I was like, oh, sorry. Anyway, out of like the 15 friends that were there, I came in second in the score. And he got so much shit from his friends. And he was like, oh, yeah, whatever, like there. And then when we left, he goes, I don't think this is working.
Oh, no.
Oh, frail ego.
Well, I mean, you did start off your relationship with deception. I mean, very fun deception that I appreciate because I've done it maybe once or twice myself.
I think that's epic.
But
it was worth it.
I feel like that's just like the moment I'm waiting for. I think my chance for that has come and gone now, where someone underestimates you when it comes to games or whatever, and then you just fucking wreck them. God.
Yeah, it's worth it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
A great question. Yeah. Sorry, Quirky Little, that I didn't kind of like totally smash the answer for that one.
No, that's okay. Sometimes those questions are a little bit more difficult. But I was curious about all of the things that you're doing right now. Is there a project that you have been noodling on or thinking someday when I get more time, more hours in the day are added, if I had a time turner, maybe I would want to do this project? Because it feels like you've done a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why it's so difficult. I would love to know how to stay in my lane, but I'm driving like a stereotypical
crazy taxi.
Yeah. There it is. Yes, yeah. I honestly, the big goal for me, get ready. This is super, super hard. And I've been working at it for ages, but a little achievement called a green card.
Oh, I mean, that is a really difficult thing to get.
Of my life. Yeah, that's like the one that I'm like, oh, baby. I don't know if like you noticed Alana was petitioning for an award really, really hard. And she was like, look, I don't necessarily want to win it, but if I do, it will help my green card process. And she actually got her green card. So I'm going to have to really swallow a lot of humility and start petitioning myself as someone more important than I am, so that the immigration system will actually let me stay.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah,
please.
I know what you're saying, though, because the people who are in charge of those processes have a very limited view on what that success is deemed. And it's really frustrating, particularly for people in digital primary. I know you do broadcast as well, but like,
but you're right. It's so antiquated that they're like, even if you get 1 million podcast listens, it doesn't count.
Right. Exactly.
Like social media numbers and reach doesn't matter. You basically have to earn sort of like 7 figures or have won an Emmy, or you're on the board of some sort of awards where you're on the judging panel, or you have lots of articles and press written about you where it's like featured on you. So that's yeah. So that'll be my high score achievement.
So basically what you're saying is you need to start your own award show.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? The award show.
I mean, boom, you did it.
I hate it and I love it.
I love it.
Oh dear. So yeah, that's kind of like the main thing that I'm working on, staying in the country.
Yeah.
Seems like a legitimate side hustle.
Thank you. I'm exhausted, but yeah.
Wow.
So the rest of my career can come like after that, I guess.
Yeah. Well, you've been working on camera for quite some time, and you and I have kind of known each other in the industry for several years at this point, and know I think all of the same on camera people, because I think the geek and gaming / entertainment digital space is not as big.
Pretty neat little clique.
Yeah, not as big as people think it is. And I think it's so awesome that you've been able to be so prolific, because as somebody who also works in the space, I know just how much hustle that requires. Because people from the outside looking in are like, oh, you just must be busy all the time. You just must always have work. And it's like, I'm so glad that you think it looks easy from the outside.
Yeah.
When in reality, it isn't. So, what do you find the most rewarding about what you do, and what do you find the most challenging?
Actually, the thing that I love the most, I've recognized that the highest sort of compliment or validation that I can get is from my peers. So when I do something, or if I'm kind of either making my own thing or working, and I have someone who I'm in this field with, in this sort of like this niche clique with, if they're like, wow, I noticed this, I know the work that goes into it, I just want to let you know, well done. That will make my year. That is the best reward that I can get from this. That, and having someone watch like a fan or anyone just like watch my stuff, and they were like, that got me out of a tough spot in my life. Or watching Fungeons and Flagons got me into Dungeons and Dragons. And I was like, great. Like that, they're the best compliments that I can get. The hardest part about it is, and I've actually legitimately kind of like sent emails to places that I've worked and said, hi, I have chosen career. I am single and I don't have children, even though I want them. And I can't buy a house because I'm a freelancer and the bank won't give me money. So if I have chosen career and you will still only use me sometimes to host things for you, what does that make me? So I think that is the hardest thing, especially sort of at my age, recognizing the sacrifices that I have made, or I'm not necessarily kind of like fulfilling other parts of my life that I actually really want, and I'm focusing more on career, and I don't think I'm anywhere close to where I want to be or need to be, even according to immigration. That is a very, very bitter pill to swallow. And so I think that's the hardest part, where it's just not easy.
Wow.
If I can be super real and vulnerable.
100%. I mean, I couldn't agree more. This idea of you keep going because you're so passionate and you love what you do, and you have to sometimes stop and reflect about, what is the rest of my life path look like? What is even the next 12 months of my life look like? And sometimes it's a really hard conversation to have with yourself when you work in these entertainment fields, no matter if you're on camera or you're not, because people who work in the side of the business that we do on the media side, particularly on camera reporters, people who do interviews and things like that, host their own shows. It's not only is it a grind content-wise, but there's, Brittany and I talk about all the time about how there's an illusion that we just like sit around and like play games or like go to cons and like that's all we do and we get paid to do that. And I'm like, gosh, that sounds like a great life. Who has that life? Can I ask them how they got it? Because I don't have it, and well, I still am very honored and grateful that I get to be in this industry and get to do really fun on camera stuff. It takes a toll on you for sure.
Yeah, in different ways as well. Sort of like life balance, how it affects your relationships, but then also sort of like when you put yourself out there in the public, having sort of not so great people kind of just barrage you with not so nice things. And, shit starts to stick, which is really hard as well. So you have to be like mentally resilient, physically resilient. Yeah, it can be a bit tricky.
It's hard to know when to take a break and step away, especially for the longest time. My mindset was, if I'm not working to achieve my goal, someone else is working twice as hard to achieve my goal, and that was always a driving and a motivating factor. And obviously, for you, Maude, it's a lot more time sensitive. So I imagine for you, it's really hard to know, like, when can you allow yourself to stop and take a break and to step away? Do you find yourself stepping away from time to time? Or are you just like, I have to fucking do this? Like literally my life, not my life, but like my future kind of depends on it.
Oh, if I don't do this, I have literally nothing else.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not true. You've got people who love you and friends, and
my family's in another country.
Well, that part I can't do anything about.
I spoon my dog. I don't know what to tell you. If I'm not succeeding at work, I really, really do have nothing else, and I forged that path myself, so I really have to die on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bleak, Maude. That's bleak.
Yeah, I know.
I don't.
That screams of a woman who needs a beach vacation.
Yeah, but then this is like the worst part about that. Well, holidays for me now have just felt like a reminder that I'm lonely.
I know.
Yeah, so they're not even fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, maybe I just do want to just keep working. Do you think that there is a way for you to find that kind of, solace and comfort in, your work and not just view it as work? Do you think that that's what keeps you going? Is that you get to work on things that you're passionate about? Or do you really just feel like you're one foot in front of the other?
It depends on the time, the job, the mood. But I think the reason why I'm exactly where I am is because it's something that I keep choosing. It's like it's a choice that I continually make. And I love what I do. I'm grateful for what I do. I think being in LA, like coming from Australia where I was a very big fish in a small pond and I found success relatively quickly and was consistently working. And by 26, I was like, gosh, I think I've done it all. What else is out there? To then coming to America where I was a very, very small fish in a very, very big pond. And I think that adjustment initially was fine because I came over here with a job in radio, actually, where I was doing a lot of these celebrity interviews and red carpets and living the dream. And then moving into digital media, which was a lot of fun as well. But with freelance, it's a constant sort of hustle. But it's one that I choose because I do get to, run a company and I get to focus on me, like I'm meditating and I'm exercising when my back's not absolutely rooted. And I think that, overall my quality of life is pretty great. I just do get pangs of loneliness because I'm super ready to settle down with someone that loves me. I don't even have to love them.
You just put it out there. Now everybody knows. Slide into those DMs, I guess.
No, I've got incredibly high standards, which is just kicking my own ass. So, yeah.
As you should, though.
Yeah.
Thank you. I've waited this long. What's a little bit longer for the right person?
Exactly. Yeah. See, there you go. I love that. Well, Maude, we could just keep talking, but we've taken enough of your busy schedule already. It's been so wonderful having you on the show. We have to get you back so we can actually talk nerdy books.
I mean that. And I've got a book recommendation for you, especially if you loved Mistborn. Have you read The Six of Crows duology?
I have not.
By Leigh Bardugo. Oh, you would love it.
Ooh, yes. Okay. The Six of Crows.
Yeah, it's a duology. Start with the Six of Crows. It's just great.
I feel like Andrea now has a new play date when it comes to books. And I'm like, yay, Andrea. Listen, you two get together, talk about your books, and mommy's going to go sip some whiskey at the playground.
And then we'll drink some wine and not get hangovers. Yes.
See? I knew that this was going to be a fruitful guest on the podcast. Well, Maude, for everybody out there who was like, she's really great, I want to follow her, where is the best place for people to keep up with everything that you've got going on?
If that's true, that's really sweet. If you would like to, I'm on Instagram and Twitter and all that jazz at Maude Garrett. I stream Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays at Geek Bomb on Twitch. Wednesdays is my book club where I actually cover 2 books every single month. That's what happens when you don't have a man or a baby. You just get to read 2 books a month and talk about it. But I also do team ups with Trisha on Thursday, and I play with Adam Vision on Friday on Twitch streaming. Come on by. It's a lot of fun. And if you get enough channel points, you can unleash a jump scare scream on me where I will shit my pants and start crying.
That sounds so fun.
So I'm so scared. And I did that for a Halloween stream and I just decided to keep it on. In the moment, I hate it more than anything. When I watch it back, I laugh at me so hard.
It's good for you every once in a while to laugh at yourself and remind yourself that, like, you know what, you're just a person doing their best and it's okay to laugh.
Yeah, it's okay to be scared shitless sometimes.
It's true.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us on this episode of What's Good Games. You can check out all of those links that Maude mentioned in the show notes, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.